We're having flower distribution, so we're going to start on that note. So good morning. My name is Tiffany. I'm serving as your host this morning. It's so great to see all of you. We have Ari on the audio and the video in the back, running the whole thing by himself. Look at him go. And Bree is coming up to speed on it and is soon going to unseat Ari, as one does. The protege just zooms right in there, you know. And then we have our whole band with us today. And Jeff is going to be presenting the music later. And then we have a special guest who's giving our message today, Karen Blakeley, our Reverend K. And so she is up from Grass Valley to share with us today. So anyway, it's a great Sunday morning to be here. And the sun is already out, so we have much to be grateful for. I want to welcome everyone who is here on Zoom. It looks like Zoom is up and running today. I want to ask everyone in our space to please turn off your cell phones, because you know how it is. You only get calls during church, right? Yeah. So we start every Sunday with an acknowledgement of the ancestral lands on which we meet. The Eureka Center for Spiritual Living acknowledges that the land on which we gather is the ancestral territory of the Wiyot peoples. This territory extends to the communities throughout most of Humboldt County, and we honor the Wiyot peoples today. Ho. So we are going to start this morning with a song called Everything I Need to Know. Yes. Please stand, thank you.
Everything I need to know about what lies before me. Everything I need to know about what lies before me is available to me, is available to me through the mind of God within me. Everything I need to do about what lies before me, everything I need to do about what lies before me is available to me, is available to me through the mind of God within me. Everything I need to be free about what lies before me, everything I need to be free about what lies before me is available to me, is available to me through the mind of God within me. Everything I need to be strong about what lies before me, everything I need to be strong about what lies before me is available to me, is available to me through the mind of God within me. Everything I need to know about what lies
right, thank you, Donna. We have a lot going on this week. Oh, man. Sorry, I tried to skip ahead. We got a lot going on this week. I'm very excited about it. And that's why I was trying to race past this, but this is important. So we're going to do this first. And so I invite you, instead of using the last line that we've got on here, I would love for you to turn to somebody and say, I am grateful you are here. Because we all need to hear that, right? Yes. Yeah, okay. So we are a welcoming community where the vibration of love lifts us, the wisdom of the ages inspires us, and the science of mind teaching empowers us. I am grateful that you are here. So this is what I mean by we have a lot going on this week. There is something on here every day of the week. I hope you find something on here that really appeals to you and will work with your schedule that you can participate in this week. Because it's so nice to connect with other people from our fellowship during the week, right? It just amps it up. So one of the things that's going on this week is that Lorna is back with her For the Love of Writing class on Friday at 2 p.m. This is a drop-in class. You don't have to come every time. And so we hope that if this is something that speaks to your heart, you will join us. Also, the men's group is meeting on Saturday afternoon this week. They meet once a month. And Edward is the one who leads this group. So I don't see him today.
Every other Saturday.
Every other Saturday. I am so ill-prepared for this job. Good Lord. Is that why Edward isn't here? Because I keep screwing it up? He's so offended? Oh my gosh. I'm going to have to call him. Jeez. Don't anybody tell him I got it wrong. Good Lord. All right. So Carol's going to come up and tell you about this one. And she knows all about it, so the information will be correct.
Maybe I'll remember. Oh, okay. Anyway, so this is a flyer you can pick up over on the table if you're interested. Next Sunday is going to be the first sharing salon, and then the next one won't be till January. But next Sunday, it's going to be from 2 o'clock till 4 o'clock, and it's based historically on how they had salons in Europe many centuries ago, where people would come and share literature or art or just have discussions. So we're going to do it a little different. We're going to just share anything we want. You know, bring your favorite poem, bring your favorite doll, bring your favorite, photograph, bring your favorite story, something that really speaks to your heart, something that maybe changed your life, and then we each have 5 minutes to share. Yes?
Can we have directions to your house?
Oh, okay. I will email them to you because you're on the list. And if you need a ride, we're going to try to somehow figure out how to give everybody rides. So mark yes if you need a ride, and we'll try to do ride sharing or something. Okay, so bye.
I just wanted to mention this is next Sunday from 2 to 4 at Carol's house in Rio Del. So anyway, that's why people wanted directions. You probably said that, Carol, but I just wanted to emphasize that. So, all right. So I'm excited about this. Marie is offering something really special, which is called Yoga Nidra. And I think last time some people were a little concerned that this was the kind of strenuous yoga where you do a bunch of poses and you balance on one foot and you better hope there's a wall nearby. Yeah, that is not this. This is a deeply relaxing process where you lay down throughout the session. In other words, it's my kind of yoga. And she gives you a guided meditation. She's talking to you, and the idea is that you reach a very deep, relaxed state. And so she's going to do it on Zoom, so you can get very comfortable in your own home. And it's going to be Thursday, the 30th, at 7 p.m. So even if you work during the day, you can come. And so the idea is to have the half an hour of yoga nidra and then a half an hour discussion. And so I'm really pleased she's doing this. This has been something I have done in the past, and I just really enjoy it. So I hope you will check it out.
Where is it at?
It's on Zoom. Yeah, so your house, basically. Yeah, exactly.
And you don't have to be lying down, you could be sitting in your favorite chair.
You absolutely could, but I mean, if there's something you could do laying down, why wouldn't you lay down?
Because you gotta see your Zoom screen.
No, you don't. She's talking to you. Yeah, exactly. You don't have to see the screen to get it at all.
Yoga, you can stand on your head.
Yes.
For the people who have not used the Zoom, we have one Zoom for everything on our website.
We do. That's a really good point. There aren't individual Zoom meetings. For what we do on Zoom, we use one. And so anyway, it's really easy to get connected up with what we do on Zoom. So, anywho, so next I want to tell you about Lori's book. So our very own Lori is writing a book about demonstrations. And these are examples of where something that you have hoped would manifest in your life have come true. And so what she's hoping to do is collect up your demonstrations into a book. She will keep the names anonymous. She's not going to put any names in it, but she's just going to put city and state. And please reach out to her. She's sitting in the back over there today, and her email is up on the screen. So once you reach out to her, she'll give you the working title of the book. So there's a little tit for tat in it. Ha 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 ha. All right, so if you need to talk to somebody after the service, or you would like to talk to somebody after the service, we have practitioners here today to meet with you. Scott is here, Michelle is here, Susan, Reverend A, and Reverend K. And so we have lots of people here to talk to after the service. Our little pantry always needs feeding, so if next time you go to the grocery store, you could get a few individual items, that would be great. Pop-top cans are always welcome. And here is our theme for the month of October. And, you know, when I was looking at this one, so it's no more scary stories. This is what we are doing. The rest of the CSLs are doing something else, but this one's even better. And so anyway, one of the things I wanted to point out is look at all these ghosts, how they're reading. Like they've all been to our library. And so even though, you know, they're avoiding scary stories, there's all kinds of great stories out there to read, which is so true about what's going on in the world right now. So anyway, be like the ghosts. I don't know what that means. Okay, and here's our next song.
I invite you to relax in your chair. Peaceful people, peaceful planet. We are the difference, just you, just you. Peaceful people, peaceful planet. We are the difference, just we, just you. The peace that we've been waiting for is living now within us. We have the power to believe it to be difference, just me, just you. The peace that we've been waiting for is living now within us. We have the power to believe it to be true. Peace as a reality begins today as me and you. Peaceful people, peaceful planet. We are the difference, just me, just you. Peaceful people, peaceful planet. We are the difference. We are the difference. We are the difference, just me, just you. It's your line to cross.
Good morning. I'm going to do our moment of peace for today, and if you are new to us or just happened to forget in the last week, what this is I am going to read something that will hopefully be inspirational and you will relate to it. We will then have a moment of silence where you can meditate to it or do whatever. Jackson will play a little bit of music. After he's done, I will do a treatment, our term for prayer for science of mind. Angelica, each of the practitioners who does this, we have been very strictly informed, 1 or 2 paragraphs, because some of us have a tendency to go long. Not me at all. However, that said, Angelica sent me this, and she said, what do you think about reading this? And I said, I love this. I'd be glad to read it, but it's more than a couple of paragraphs. She said, read it quickly. And then we talked about it, and she didn't really mean that because it would lose the impact of this. So this is from John Pavlovitz, if you know who he is. He is a former minister. He is a very liberal minister and a social and political activist. I believe he's out of South Carolina. He writes a Substack. He writes a lot. And I think he's one of the best writers out there. So when Angelica said, would you please read this? It was like, yes, without a doubt. The title is, yeah, it's hell here, but heaven is still within reach. So, from Reverend John Pavlovitz. I spend a good deal of time with hopeless people. I am fortunate enough that the work I do regularly places me in the path of human beings who feel safe enough to reach out when in their most desperate moments, when the light within them feels as though it's quickly dimming, when their spirits are saturated with a persistent and heavy dread that threatens to pull them under. Overtaken by a pain and frustration that suddenly feels sustainable, they type out a frantic Hail Mary missive and heave it into the ether, hoping it will find its way into my hands, and it often does. It is both a profound expression of trust for which I am grateful and a dangerous occupational hazard that makes me staying above the surface itself a Herculean effort, mainly because I am feeling that same desperation. Honestly, there are a few of us out here who aren't pressed past the capacity of what our emotional systems are designed to withstand. We are all reeling from an unrelenting battery of breaking bad news, live-streamed trauma, and the continual grief over all that we've lost, all careening wildly around in the tumult of a torn open fuselage, plummeting toward the ground and scrambling for the oxygen masks. And so these words are for me as much as for you, friend. Yes, things are, objectively speaking, as bad as we think they are. We are not overreacting or failing to correctly assess the information in front of us. Our despair is not unfounded. Our disgust is fully justified. Our urgency is absolutely called for. This is historically disastrous. It's a certified, verified, authenticated hellscape. And yet, that is not the whole story. Because despite every reason we have to drift into hopelessness, countless realities provide a dissenting opinion if we're paying attention to them. Beautiful, life-affirming truths that we can easily miss. We can still embrace someone we love and know that we are fully found in their arms. We can still find ourselves awestruck at the evening sky's brilliant display, promising the dawn's arrival. We can still discover music that reaches into the hidden recesses of our souls and lets the sunlight come streaming in. We can still be fully present for our children and grandchildren who deserve a story that is not defined by what is ugly and wrong and cruel. We can still fall in love and make love and be love and receive love. We can still lie in the grass and allow the birds and the breeze to pull us out of the chaos in our hearts and into the rest that we deserve. We can still make the greatest marinara we've ever made and marvel at the magical alchemy of tomatoes, garlic, basil, and olive oil. We can still laugh until our bellies ache, our bladders leak, and our eyes fill with good tears. I love that line. We can still step into our communities and alter someone else's story with a simple act of kindness. We can still create and build and speak and help. We can still choose who we will be in this day. Friend, at any given second of this often heartbreaking, confounding, infuriating experience of being human right now, there are a million things waiting for us beyond the sorrow and the violence that so easily extinguish the hope inside. The challenge is to see and appreciate and honor those things so we don't succumb to a one-sided story that leaves no room for joy and beauty. Yes, this place is a hellscape, but heaven is still within reach. It always is. I am grateful that I have embraced and I understand this true philosophy that that which we focus on is that which we get. That which we acknowledge grows to the level that we can embrace it and that we can accept it. And yes, I embrace the fact that I am afraid, I am angry, I am confused, I am scared. And if I focus on those, although true, that is the world that I will live in. And so I choose to turn to the other side of the equation. I choose to focus on the fact that I am surrounded by people who share the same philosophy as me and who love deeply and greatly. I am inspired and hopeful because the people who I choose to be around are a small amount of the millions, the hundreds of millions of people who are all coming together to make a better world and who are saying, this is not the world we want. We are instead creating a world of peace, a world of inclusion, a world of love, a world where everybody receives their health care as they need to, a world where nobody walks afraid. That is the heaven on earth that we are creating. And when I look forward and I see the beauty and I see the art and I see everything that is around me, I realize that that world is right here, right in the immediate, right now, no further away than the space in which I live. And as I embrace that and let it flow through me, knowing that the universe has no choice but to say, here you are, here's more of it, I am incredibly grateful. And I release these words and thoughts into the law of mind, knowing that they are already happening, and all I have to do is hold true to those thoughts, true to those beliefs, and feel it within, because that is the reality in which I live. And again, I say I am grateful, release these words, and close this off by saying, with joy and gratitude, and so it is.
My soul is overflowing with the power and presence of love. My soul is overflowing.
Thank you, Jackson. And now my soul is overflowing with gratitude and love because Karen Blakeley, who a former practitioner here, who I got to learn a lot from and could never quite measure up to the level that I think Karen is at. I'm very honored to be able to introduce Reverend K. Karen Blakeley, who's coming back to speak to us.
Always such a joy to be back with my Eureka family and speak for all of you today. So Tiffany reminded us this morning that our theme for this month is no more scary stories. And as I thought about that, I was reminded that in the olden days, the original Halloween was to dress up in what you were afraid of in order to push it away, to scare the scary things away. And so as we look around the world, and as we heard in that beautiful piece this morning, there's a lot going on. And so just a show of hands, who has heard something or read something that made them feel a sense of anxiety or fear of any kind? All right, we got a lot of honest people in the room. I love that. And I think that this is a really natural human reaction to have, right? That fear is that emotion that keys in when things don't look quite how we imagine them. You're like, wait a minute, what's going on here? And in our teachings, our founder, Ernest Holmes, has reminded us that nothing can have power over us except for the power that we allow it to have, right? And that's one of the things we really hold to. I see several of you nodding your heads on that. But what can happen sometimes as we lean into that is what's known as a spiritual bypass. It's where we deny the human experience that we're having. And so we have fear come up and we're like, nope, I don't see you. I'm not looking at you. If I don't look at you, you don't exist. I'm going to stuff it down. I'm going to pretend that it's not there. And that too can be a problem. As the great Sufi mystic Rumi reminds us in the story The Guest House, he says, every day a new emotion. Invite them in and treat each as an honored guest. And so as I pondered that, That's where I came up with the title of my talk today, which is Befriending Fear. Of how can we invite fear in as that honored guest? And by inviting fear in, transcend it. Are you guys with me? Yeah, I hear a little bit, maybe. I'm not so sure. And this is a really tough subject. It's really great to come to church and talk about fear, right? But stay with me. I promise you won't be disappointed. And so many of you know that I am a nurse by trade, and so I love to talk about the physiology of things. And fear is one of those things that completely takes over our brains. It will take us out of higher thinking and into our reptilian tiny brain, what I like to call the crazy brain. And in the crazy brain, we make really bad choices. And if we stay in crazy brain long enough, we become paralyzed. And we're like that deer in the headlights that's like, if I just stay here, nobody will see me. It usually doesn't end well for the deer when we're in that paralyzed place. Well, and I want to just remind us that this isn't the first time that we've had a place in the United States that felt dark. Ernest Holmes said that fear is an intense emotion that, if bottled up, secretes poison into the system. And I feel like that's what we're seeing around us everywhere, is that poison is seeping into the system. And more people are in that crazy brain, and we're seeing more and more people be paralyzed with that fear. If we look back in history, we're going to go first back to 1933. And some of you may remember when Franklin D. Roosevelt gave his famous inaugural address. And everybody knows that first part of that address, right? He said, wait, let me find it. So first of all, let me assert my firm belief that the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. Yeah, everybody knows that one, right? But then he goes on to say, nameless, unreasoning, unjustified terror, which paralyzes needed efforts to convert retreat into advance. That if we let it, fear can literally keep us in a place of submission where we too are afraid to act. And then in the 60s, Martin Luther King added to that fear is not defeated by denial or bravo, but by cultivating inner spiritual resources and trust in divine presence. I think he'd be a member of CSL today because that fits just perfectly in with everything that I believe with all my heart. That it's through our spiritual practices and being grounded in spirit that we can overcome fear. And I hear a little echo of like, overcome it. We're going to overcome it. Yeah, we're going to talk about that. Ah, there's a song about that. I love that. So I think we're at that tipping point again here today, just like we were in the 30s, just like Martin Luther King talked about in the 60s. We're once again at that tipping point. And not because we haven't evolved, but literally because we have. You see, for years we've been giving our power over to governments and media stories and other people's opinions and our bank accounts and all of these external things. And we've started to turn and believe and realize the very truth, that the truth lies within. That faith in ourselves is greater. And that as we do this, there's something that happens to that small part of us. And in race consciousness, we see that like the little child that's tapping to try to get your attention. Hey. And if you don't react, often parents are like, yeah, okay. Hey. Nothing. And then they get really aggressive and pull on your jacket. They're like, hey, look at me. And you're like, finally, what? And the child goes, look, I learned how to blow bubbles. And you're like, are you kidding me right now? This is what you wanted? And really what they're doing is pulling for your attention. And the world of effects is like that small child right now. And those little parts of us that have longed to stay in that small, safe space, even if we're uncomfortable with some of the items that may be in that bubble of the sphere that we've existed in for so long, We know what it is there. We're comfortable there. We know how to behave there. And we're being evolved and pushed past that into this new realm. And those pieces, those parts of ourselves in that race consciousness are yelling for our attention as we continue to break up with them. And that breakup is more like War of the Roses. It is not smooth or easy. I don't know if anyone remembers that movie. But we can remember again that that peace lies within inside of us, and that we're all in this thing together. As we looked around the room a minute ago, there was hardly one person. There might have been one or two people that were like, no, I'm not afraid of anything. We're good. And that's awesome. And we're also in good company, that we can wrap our arms around each other in this place. Mother Teresa said that if we have no peace, it is because we have forgotten that we belong to each other. Yeah. And last week, Reverend Angelica invited us to stand and imagine ourselves as trees. And many of you have heard me talk about my absolute love of the redwood trees here. They're sacred to me in a way that I could never truly express with words. And if you really dig into the history of redwood trees, tallest trees on earth, they can grow up to 300 feet. 300 feet. And some have lived as long as 2,000 years. And so we'd expect something that is this old and this massive to have really, really deep roots. But that's not true. In fact, the roots are so shallow, they only go 5 to 12 feet deep. So think about that for a minute. How do you take something that's only 12 feet deep, that's 300 feet high, and keep it standing, right? The Palo Verde trees, when I used to rock climb, they were like, never make an anchor out of a Palo Verde tree because you'll rip it right out of the ground. They have shallow roots. But redwood trees have just as shallow of roots. So what makes them different? They do. They keep each other up. Their roots go out. They spread out, sometimes up to 100 feet. And they combine themselves with nearby trees. They can even fuse with nearby trees. And so the strength becomes a strength that is in the entire forest. That the illusion is that each tree is separate, but underground, they're connected. Fused. They can even, when they're at the end of their life, push their life force into another tree to help them survive. Such amazing things that we can learn from our redwood trees. We too look like we're separate. But even science today, when we get to quantum physics and we start talking about string theory and all of those other wonderful parts of quantum physics, we see that there is this invisible net. I call it spirit. I call it God, right? In our teachings, we believe that we're each tiny drops of God, that we're actually one with the one. So what is there to be afraid of if we realize that God has got us? Because here's the thing I know about God. Oftentimes, I get a prompting. I remember when I was in Phoenix, and I was like, you should start saving boxes. And I'm like, why am I going to save boxes? I don't need boxes for anything. I was like, okay, I guess I'm saving boxes. And so I started saving boxes. And then all of a sudden I heard, you don't need to move. You don't belong here anymore. And I ended up here in Eureka. If I hadn't listened, do you know how much harder it would have been to get all those boxes? Spirit sees things and knows things that we don't. We can't possibly know in our human experience, in this space that we're in, that Spirit's got us. Okay, it does look really amazingly weird out there right now. I don't want to call it wrong, but weird. But we have to know that Spirit has us. And so when that small part in us, that child, starts to stand up and ask for attention, this is where we can befriend them as the older, wiser adult. And if we want to get out of fear as we befriend that younger piece of us, we have to make sure we stay out of the how business. How Ernest Holmes puts this is, we are on the Ways and Means Committee, but not on the How Committee. I want you to think about how many times you've said to yourself, but I don't know how I'm going to do that. But I don't know how I can make that possible. But I don't know how that could be. But I don't know how we're going to get through this. It's not your job to know how. You get to let how go. How freeing is that to realize we don't have to know the how. What we have to do is grow our roots and be grounded in God, and then spread those roots out collectively, holding each other, and realize that we're not alone. So we remember our oneness. On the flip side of that, we've mentioned that fear is just an emotion. That fear can actually be a positive thing. And I know some of you are thinking I'm crazy right now, that I've completely lost it, but I promise you I'm going to get to the point. Fear can sometimes show us where we're growing. You know, when I put in my application for ministerial school, I dropped it in the slot, and I was like, what have I done? What have I done? Because I knew that my life would completely change. That nice little box that I was in, I was having to step outside of. And then I got a call from my then minister at the center, the senior minister, and they said, would you like to talk on Sunday on the July 4th? And I was like, yes! And I hung up the phone, and I was like, oh my God. What if they don't like me? What if I don't do a good job? What if I can't do this? What if? And I started to recoil, and I had to remind myself that even though I look like the caterpillar, that I was really a butterfly. Right? That's always inside of us, that those imaginal cells, that's something that is calling us into something greater already knows what we are capable of even when we don't. And now I am on the edge of applying to start an online teaching center. And I'm once again like, this is the most terrifying thing I've ever done in my life. And it's like, yay, if your dreams aren't big enough to terrify you, you're not doing it right. Right? So in this way, fear can almost be a positive thing. Okay, so let's talk about how we befriend fear. I want everybody to take a breath and just let it go. Okay, and we're going to do that one more time. And this time, after we take a breath in, I want you to audibly allow anything that feels unlike love and joy to go. So we take a breath in. And let's let it out. Can you feel that expansion we just created with 2 breaths? Fear contracts us. When we feel something that we're afraid of, we go, and everything tightens up and we quit breathing. And so right inside of us is one of the best ways to start to shift that fear, that when you feel it and you're like, oh, okay, let me take a breath. And the breath can help you to stay out of that crazy mind. You can do something called box breathing too that can help, where you breathe in for 4 counts, hold it for 4 counts, and then breathe out for 4 counts, and hold out for 4 counts. There's a lot of different ways to do that, but that's an easy one because the number stays the same. And that can really start to put you back into a place where now your higher functioning abilities are there with you. That you're not paralyzed with that fear. The other suggestion that I have for you in befriending fear is to either write it. If you're a journaler, you can journal it out and just free flow and see what ideas you have. Or for me, I like to pretend that the thing I'm afraid of is in front of me and just have a conversation. And one of my senior ministers, when I was in practitioner training, said, it's okay to have a spiritual temper tantrum. All right? You just have to listen. And so pay attention to what comes up. What are the themes that you're hearing? And you're like, oh, this is the thing that I'm afraid of. This is the thing that I'm holding on to. This is the error that I need to work with. And if you're unable to find that for yourself, you've got all of these beautiful practitioners here. You can work with practitioners and say, I can't identify what's going on here, but I know my thinking is not where I'd like it. And so let's talk through this and allow us to hold you when you're feeling weak so that we can lean on you when we're not strong. Because we're in this together. That it's together in this community, spending time in community. You saw that whole list of things that are available this week. There are so many ways to stay connected to each other and to people who are in this who aren't allowing fear to run their lives. Ernest Holmes said that fighting any adverse condition only increases its power over us because we are making a reality of it. The shorthand of that is what we focus on grows, right? And we know that. And can we focus on this community, on our collective consciousness in this room, of that up-leveling in vibration, of knowing that together we have the power to overcome fear, that together we're moving through what may be an uncomfortable time that may seem dark or scary. Fear is only a feeling, and it may even be a doorway for your next breakthrough, for your next bold expression. So don't slam it shut. Be willing to embrace the fear and walk through that door, trusting that Sweet Spirit is always walking with you. Reclaim your power. You are each whole, perfect, and complete. Nothing, and I mean nothing that we see, not the government, not the thing our neighbor said, not the thing we heard when we were little, nothing can take your wholeness and your beauty away from you. That's yours. By your divine birthright, you are a tiny spark of God right here. Make fear that welcome guest. Invite it in laughing. Make it a sacred companion as you continue on your path of awakening. Because the world doesn't need more people claiming that they are not afraid. It needs more people willing to feel the fear and love anyway. To feel the fear and speak up anyway. To feel the fear and do it anyway. Whatever that is that you are feeling that divine urge and call to do. I know that together we can be those people. So you're going to have to remind me, do we do prayer and an affirmation? And then do we do an affirmation after that? We don't do an affirmation. Okay. All right. Let's just take it into prayer. And so we just pause once again to take a breath. Breathing in that gift of life, feeling our connection to each other and to the beautiful world around us. For what I know that I know that I know is that there is only one. I call it God, Sweet Spirit, that infinite infinitude, the ground of all possibility. They call it God. And we know that this is good because God is that space, that place of all good. And that it is in this space that we know and claim our own connection to this good here and now. That there is nothing to fear but fear itself. And so we just invite fear to fall back into the nothingness from which it came, for it was never the truth of who and whose we are. And so as we continue to walk out this time in our lives, we do so holding the high watch for one another. That we are holding that vibration and that love, that together we are one. That there is power in this combined community energy. And so I just know each one of us are blessed and a blessing. That we are here to hold one another and walk each other home. That there is no spot that God is not. And fear is but a feeling. And so as we breathe into this feeling, we just accept it in joy, in love, in peace. Knowing that the world that works for all is on the horizon. That while the ramblings of the little nest that is falling away is loud, that it cannot abate what is to be. That beautiful place, that heaven that was talked about in that beautiful reading this morning. And so I just give thanks. So grateful for this experience and for each and every person in the sound of my voice. And so it is with a heart overflowing with gratitude that I cast this forth into the law. I simply let these words go. I let it be, knowing that sweet Spirit already is whispering, yes, beloved ones. Yes, yes, and yes. And we know this together by saying together, and so it is. All right, and I think now we have music by Jeff.
Thanks, Karen. Wait, okay.
You know, I had a whole speech prepared about how blues got to America. I'm going to do it very briefly, but Karen and Scott just set us up for blues, release of emotions. These are really lousy times, but we need to talk about it. We need to express it. Blues came to America by way of slavery. Africans came over here. They were not voluntary immigrants. It was not a tourism thing. And it's how they communicated and sang in Africa. And then when they got hold of more European-style instruments here, they began to express it as we know it. But wait, the Brits were not far behind. The Brits still had food rationing after World War II, and American sailors were hanging out there, and they loved the American blues records, particularly the black stuff. Because remember, it was not popular here except in black audiences. But the Brits brought it back to us. The Rolling Stones, the Yardbirds, the Beatles to some extent. B.B. King said he would be out of business if it wasn't for the Brits playing black music that originated through slavery. Blues is pure emotion. That's it. Now, Donna sings blues fantastic. She may get you going on this. And basically, it's just 5 notes. How many is that, 4? Either way. Do you feel that emotion? Let me hear it. A little bit of emotion there, right? Yeah.
Thank you so much, Jeff and the band. Woo. Yeah. All right, so at this point, we're going to do the collection of our offering. So if you will join me, I gratefully give from the fullness of my abundance, knowing my gift blesses this center, all in it and beyond. And so it is. On behalf of our center, I gratefully accept these gifts that are so lovingly given to continue the mission of this place and to support both here, our community, and beyond. And we say together, and so it is. Thank you both. So is there someone who'd be willing to read our community statement of inclusion? All right, come on up, Louise. Thank you.
Or did you want to do it?
Now you gotta dig for glasses. This is my story.
I know.
You want mine?
No, you know what? I don't need it. I read it from there.
There you go.
We, the Eureka community, maybe I should, okay, let's start over. We, the Eureka Center for Spiritual Living, are a community that celebrates diversity, fosters inclusion, champions inner work, and creates space for brave, vulnerable conversations. We are a community that honors the unique emanation of God, that each person embodies and advocates with people for human rights and dignity for all. We are a community that blesses each other, sees sacredness in all life, remains learners and listeners so we may grow together, and understands that oneness is not sameness. And together, we know the beloved community is revealed more fully when we love each other well.
Please stand and let's join a circle, make a circle, be a circle. And we'll sing the peace song together. And if you need to see the screen and can't see it because your back's to it, you can turn around. Stretch it out, folks. Okay. Go ahead, Jackson. Here we go. There's a gap in the circle.